Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make this crochet bandana. It's really quick and easy to make, and in fact it was the first thing I learned how to crochet when I was a beginner. And all you'll be needing for this project is a ball of yarn. Unfortunately I have the most garish pink colour because that's all I had to hand, and also a 4mm crochet hook. You can also use an embroidery needle to sew in the loose ends, which I actually haven't done yet, but it's not necessary if you don't have it. And before we get involved with the project, I'm just going to show you what it looks like on, so you know if you want to continue with it. So you put it around your head like this, and you can tie it at the back, or you can put it to the front and tie it under your chin, so you could look like a little farmer. You can wear it however you want to, either way it looks really cute. So without further ado, let's start crocheting. So starting with your yarn and your 4mm crochet hook, you're just going to undo this, pull out the yarn, and start by doing a magic ring. To do a magic ring, you put both your fingers like this, wrap 1, 2 around, and pinch these, remove your finger. You then get your 4mm crochet hook, insert it in, and grab this one here and loop it around, turning the yarn when you do it, and you'll get into a situation like this. You're then going to chain 4. So to chain 4, you just grab the yarn like this, turn your hook down, and pull through that loop. So that's a chain 1. Do the same thing. 2, 3, and 4. So this is what you should start off having. With a magic ring, the reason we're doing it is because you can pull it to tighten it, or you could loosen it. So it's a really great thing to know, and it will help you with your future projects. So now we've done this, this counts as a double crochet. It will make a bit more sense in when we get a bit later on into the project. So, we're going to want to be working into this middle hole here. So we're going to start by doing a double crochet. We're using American terminology, by the way. So we're going to yarn over, and working into this hole, you're going to insert your hook, just like so, and yarn over this yarn. This will give you 3 loops on your hook. 1, 2, 3. You're then going to yarn over again, pull through these 2 loops here, so 1, 2, and you'll have 2 loops on your hook. And to finish, you're going to yarn over and pull through these 2 loops. And that's your first double crochet. We're going to be doing them in clusters of 3. So, once again, we're going to yarn over, insert your hook into this hole, yarn over, grabbing this yarn here, pulling it through. So you've got 3 loops on your hook. You then, see, if this happens, just pull it a little bit tight. You're then going to yarn over, pull through these first 2, so 1, 2. So you have 2 loops on your hook, and then finally pull through these 2 loops. And that's your second double crochet. And we're going to be doing another one. So again, yarn over, insert your hook into the loop, yarn over, pull through. So there's 3 loops on your hook. Then we're going to be pulling these first 2. So yarn over, pull through these first 2. So there's 2 loops on your hook, and that's your first cluster of 3 double crochets. So as the bandana is a triangle shape, we're going to be making the point of the bandana. So to do that, we chain 2, 1, 2, and we're going to repeat what we did here into this hole. So we're going to do 3 more double crochets. So yarn over, insert your hook into that same middle loop, yarn over and pull through, so there's 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through these 2 loops, so there's 2 loops on your hook, then yarn over, pull through them 2 loops. So that's your first double crochet. This here is going to be the point. It might not be clear now, but when we get to the end of the row, it will start to make a bit more sense. So we're going to yarn over into that same hole there, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, so there's 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through these 2. And that's your second double crochet. Just going to tighten that a little bit. And then for your third one, we're going to yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, so there's 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's the first 2 clusters of crochets done. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pull this a bit tighter, and you're starting to see this triangle shape form, and we're going to be working like this in every row. So the more we add, the more clear of a triangle it's going to be. But we're not done yet. So to finish this section, I'm going to chain 1, and then into that same hole I'm going to put 1 double crochet by itself. So insert your hook and just do another double crochet like we've been doing before. And then that's the section done. You can see that we have your chain here, your 3 double crochets, your chain 2, your cluster of 3, and then this single crochet by itself. Just pull that a bit tighter. So that's your first row done. Now for the second row, what we're going to do is we're going to start off by chaining 4. This will count as a double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're then going to flip your work, and we're going to be working into not the middle hole anymore, but into these stitches. So where this space is in between the single double crochet by itself and the cluster, we're going to be inserting our next cluster of 3 double crochets into there. So we're going to yarn over, find that hole, and insert your hook. And we're just going to repeat what we did by adding 3 double crochets. So there's 1, that's 2, and then for your final one, that is 3. So after we've done that, we're going to chain 1 and then into this next space. So we're only working into the spaces, which in fact is going to be the point of the triangle. So we're going to insert and make another 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Now, let me pull this tighter. Now, because we are in the point of the triangle, we're going to do what we did before and chain 2, 1, 2. But in that same hole, we're going to be putting our next cluster of 3 double crochets. So yarn over, insert, and just do your next cluster of 3 double crochets. 2, and
3. So you can see that point starting to form there. So after you've done the point of the triangle, you're going to chain 1 and into this space here, so not into the circle, into the space, you're going to insert your hook and make 3 more double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. So although you might think we're done, we're just going to put that last double crochet by itself. So we're going to chain 1 and into that same space, so the same space, we're going to make a double crochet. And that will give you that nice straight edge. So don't forget to be adding the double crochets on at the end and the chain at the beginning, otherwise you won't get that nice smooth line beginning to form. Okay, and that's the second row done. And it is just doing the same thing every row. So doing your clusters of 3, chaining 1, and then when you get to the corner, cluster of 3, chain 2, cluster of 3, and then just repeat that all throughout the pattern. But I'm going to continue doing this with you. So as we're starting a new row, we're going to chain 4, which will count as a double crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll count as a double crochet and a chain 1. We're going to flip your work, and into this first hole we're going to place our 3 double crochet clusters. So 1, 2, and 3. So now we've done that, we're going to chain 1 and into the next space, which is this one, we're going to put our next 3 clusters. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now we're at the end of this one, we're going to chain 1, and we've now reached the corner. So of course we're going to work into that corner space, making 3 double crochets like so. And now because we're making that point, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and into that same space there, we're going to place another 3 double crochets. So into that same space, insert your hook, and just continue to repeat what we did. 2, and 3. And you can see that corner starting to form, and that what we've been doing every row so far. If you don't see this, just make sure you are putting the corners in the right place and you're also doing clusters of 3, otherwise you might get a bit of a warped bandana. Okay, so now we're at the end of the row, at the end of the cluster of 3, we're going to chain 1, and then into that next space, so this one, we're going to place another cluster of 3. So now we're gonna chain 1, and into this, say the space here in between the cluster of 3 and the chain at the beginning, so that space, we're going to make 3 double crochets. So insert it into here, 1, 2, 3. So don't forget, because we're at the end, you're gonna chain 1, and into that same space you're going to put 1 double crochet by itself, just like so. And then that's row number 3 done. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to pull this a bit tighter, and you can really start seeing that triangle form. So we're just going to repeat what we did. So chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, then turn the work into that first space, make 3 double crochets, and then you're going to chain 1, one, 2, 3, chain 1 to that next, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, and then we're in that corner, so we're going to insert it, 1, 2, 3, and then because we're in the corner, you're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and into that same space, 1, 2, oops, and 3, so you form that nice corner. So then we're going to chain 1 and into this space, 1, 2, 3, chain 1, 1, 2, 3. We're just doing our last one, so chain 1 and then into that space there, 1, 2, 3, chain 1 and then into that same space, 2. Here is the bandana that I showed you at the beginning. This is what the finished one should look like with the straps that I'll show you how to make. So currently, you should be at your halfway point. So around here. So if you just continue what you've been doing, so 3 double crochets here, and in each corner you do your double crochet and your chain 2, you should be on the track to get to here. So altogether I make around 12 12 rows. So to count them, you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can make it smaller or larger depending on the head size. So if you're doing it for a kid, you might actually want to do a couple more than this. But if you've got a larger head, you can continue going. This works really well for my head size, and I sell them in the shop and I've had no complaints yet. So this is what you should have when you get to around 12 rows. So just to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we're at 12 rows. And once you get to the end and you've done your last double crochet, we're going to be making these straps here. They're very easy to make. All you need to know how to do is a slip stitch. So if I remove this, and I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit on the camera. Here we go. So you're going to once again get your crochet hook. And we're going to make a chain of 55. So you already know how to make a chain. So you yarn over and pull through. And you're just going to do this 55 times. 53, 54, 55. Okay, so you should have a chain of 55. You want to make sure at this point it's not tangled, so you want it nice and smooth. We're then going to be working into these chains, and we're going to be doing something called a slip stitch. This was the most difficult part I found when I was a beginner, but I'm going to show you how I got over this and the problems I had. So we're going to start off by working into this stitch here. So not the very first one, just the second one away. And insert your hook, just like so, facing down, and grab that yarn, pull it through, like so, and pull this through that loop. And that is your first slip stitch. So something that worked really well for me is making sure that the hook is face down. That will make it easier for it to pull through. So once again, insert it, keeping your hook face down, pull it through, and then just pull that through there. And we're going to be doing that into every single chain. So once again, insert your hook, facing down, and pull through. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to do the next couple with you. I'm just going to keep it going like that. And you should be seeing something like this beginning to form. And this will just make sure that your straps are sturdy. And you just want to continue doing that all the way down until you reach this bit. So if you just continue all the way down, and then I'll meet you when you get to here. So we're at the very end, and I'm just going to pop a slip stitch into this first one here. Okay, and now we're going to be working into all of these chains, and in these ones we're going to be doing single crochets. So if you don't know what that is, you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, so there's 2 loops on your hook, and then pull through them 2 loops. And I'm just going to be putting 2 in each hole. So that's your first one. And then we're going to move on to this next one here. And we're going to insert our hook, yarn over, so there's 2 loops, yarn over, pull through both the loops. Again, yarn over, pull through both them loops. Then going into the next hole, which is this one, insert, yarn over, pull through both the loops, insert, yarn over, pull through both the loops. You should be having something like this, and it just makes it look really, really neat. So we're going to continue to the next hole. So insert your hook, yarn over those 2 loops, and pull through both of these loops. Oops. Really, really nice and clean. So I'm just going to continue adding my single crochets into here. Okay, so now we have this. You can see all along here, it looks really nice and smooth. In that very middle one, I just did 1 single crochet, and then now at the end here, we're just going to do what we did before and make a chain of 55. Now we've reached the end of our chain, which should look a little something like this. We are now finished with our piece. So I'm just going to do the last slip stitch with you. So going into the actual bandana this time, I'm going to insert the hook, do another slip stitch like so, and then when you get to this point, I'm going to get the yarn and pull it through and just pull up. Because my yarn's got to the end, I'm just going to pull it up until the yarn comes out and just pull it nice and tight. But usually you would cut it so you have the loose end like this and then pull it through. But I was just lucky enough that it finished there. And then you are done with your crochet bandana. You then want to go in and with your embroidery needle and sew in the loose ends into the corners and just make sure it looks nice and neat.